The devil offers you a deal. He'll help you build a YouTube empire, generating millions of dollars for your business. But you need to set your morals aside for the foreseeable future. Do you take the deal? Iman Gadzhi took it, and his YouTube channels generated dozens of millions for his businesses. But what many of you don't know is the deal is still on the table for you. You can take it, and I'll show you how. Iman Gadzhi is kind of a successful online guru and entrepreneur, and the numbers really don't lie. He has been accumulating views massively over the past 2-3 years. This, short dip is a little bit of a glitch in the YouTube data, but ending at around 170 million views, that's massive, with also his subscribers rising to a total of 5.5 million subscribers. So obviously the dude is doing something right, like also if you look at his Instagram, his TikTok, even his X, millions of followers everywhere. And this has helped him build an entire ecosystem of companies. Educate.io, Flowzy, WOP, his most recent acquisition, Grow Your Agency, a little bit sus, but we'll talk about that. Big Day and got to one FMCG, one SMCG brand. And the opportunity seems obvious. As a business owner, how can you leverage YouTube to build companies like these that generate millions and millions of revenue, mostly based entirely on YouTube, right? That's the entire basis of this success. And we'll deconstruct this success system in a minute, but first, let me say that he started 12 years ago, so this was definitely no overnight success. In fact, he started with these kind of, slightly goofy gym videos. And back then, this was a big trend, so Iman was always someone who was, keen, who knew what kind of trends are trendy right now, but probably he was a little bit too late for the fitness and bodybuilding trend, so he changed it from fitness to business. Blow up your YouTube with this, why you're not growing on social media, how to think your way to success. And it took him another couple of years until he found what worked best for him after years, and those were SMMA videos. What's SMMA? Of course, social media marketing agency. Around that time, so around 5 years ago, that was the thing, like if you wanted to get rich, according to self-proclaimed gurus, SMMA was the thing to do, just sell some random companies your social media marketing agency services and you will make lots of money. So he found out, okay, these videos are kind of gaining traction. The only problem at this time, and you don't have this problem as a business owner, is, if you have a business, it's perfect. But if you don't really have a proper business like Iman had at that time, well, you need to invent one. And that's obviously slightly unethical, but I'll tell you how to grow a YouTube channel for your business to completely crazy numbers in a second. For now, we want to quickly talk about what he did. It's slightly unethical. He kind of invented a business, right? I mean, he had this thing, IAG Media, but basically it was very, very small. But he made it seem like, this is this massive social media marketing agency. What can we learn from this? People like this, they are interested in success. They are looking at this and they want to know what a business is doing. They want to know what's the story, how did you get there, how are you making money, how legit are you? And obviously in Iman's case that kind of worked, although there were a lot of haters like here, writing up entire articles about how his social media marketing agency business is really not that big, and so he's kind of a faker, right? But as a successful business owner, luckily you don't have to do that. Look at this guy. This is you. This image screams successful business owner, because you can skip 5 years of searching like Iman Gadzhi, looking for the perfect type of content. You can go straight to the content about your business. Something that Iman figured out after lots of years, that he should make content about his business. And we'll get to what you can learn from this as a business owner, and also how you can maybe take a better turn and make more money for your business with a YouTube channel in a second. But first, let's explain this. Well, first, he was really going super deep into some of these fitness methods, and he was really going super deep, providing a lot of value there for a very specific target audience. And then after a couple of years, right after he discovered this SMMA niche, he broadened his audience much more. I mean, look at these video titles, right? Like 2022 goals revealed, the $20 million goals, shares life lesson, what I wish I knew about money by 20. I mean, can it get more generic? Nevertheless, he still went hard on these SMMA info products. The most famous one, Grow Your Agency, essentially a course, a community that you can buy for a couple of thousands to then learn how to grow an agency and allegedly make thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions with this agency. The thing with Iman is he's very good at YouTube, but he was not really good at SMMA. There were a lot of legit SMM agencies out there making millions and millions, but Iman's was not one of them. So obviously he faced a lot of criticism, right? Like, you're someone basically saying that he completely, his target market is 15 to 19-year-old youngsters, and he's selling the dream to them, yada yada. Obviously he's selling the dream, he is a guru, right? That's his whole business model. Here's how Iman Ghazi scams his audience. Well, you can think about that what you want, but the thing is, and here's what we can learn from him. We can learn a lot from him about YouTube retention, because this guy is a freaking master when it comes to YouTube retention. What the like, literally. Okay, let's look at this stuff here. Mastering the art of hooks. A couple of things, right? And this really blows my mind, but what he does extremely well is he has super strong hooks at the beginning of his videos. I suggest for, this is probably not your kind of topics, but you can watch some of Iman's videos and just look at them from an educational standpoint about YouTube, right? His hooks are super strong. His narrative arcs are very good, given that those are educational videos, right? Most business owners we work with, they also kind of make educational videos. It's not entertainment videos where the first thing that they do is entertain, right? The first thing they do is inform. But Iman finds a way to nevertheless give these educational videos a nice narrative arc. He also has some emotional depth. So if you look at some of these videos, they have this emotional, sad music playing in the background, So he plays with people's emotions, and he's very vulnerable. That's one thing that I can suggest to anyone who wants to start a YouTube channel for their business. If you are able to be vulnerable, show some failures, show some weak points, whatever it is in your business, in your industry, this really helps, because usually people tend to talk about the positive things. But guess what? People don't just want to talk about the positive things, right? They want to hear about the negatives too. And then Iman also has super clear CTAs. He plugs his videos very strategically. He also plugs his agency courses very strategically. Oftentimes he has multiple videos that are all suggesting you to watch one video, and this one video then is kind of a video sales letter, so you end up buying. And then another thing, and this is really, really genius, and if you pay attention to this once and you watch his videos, you will never forget it again. He's almost manic use of mini hooks. And what are mini hooks? Well, before we talk about what mini hooks are, let me tell you about, that's a mini hook, right? I'm hooking you, I'm telling you, I will tell you something, but first let me tell you about something different, right? Same thing with, now really quick, let me tell you about this thing, and then we'll get to that thing. Or I will explain why it's like this, why I'm doing this technique in a second. But first let me tell you about this other thing, right? And these are all mini hooks, and if you pay attention to that, Iman is using this like crazy. And the good thing is, I will tell you what the really good thing is, right? As a business owner, you can also do that. If you are trying to build a YouTube channel for your business, make obsessive use of mini hooks. Now also he has great CTAs in the videos, and you better be sure that these videos, you know, where he's sitting in his car with his secretary, it's all scripted. It's not like they just spontaneously came into that car and then, you know, this nice story unfolded, they drove to the store and bought some stuff. No, beforehand he sits down with his videographer, he sits down with his team, they think about what can we do there. So most of these videos are scripted. Obviously what he talks about is not 100% scripted, right? But usually the rough story arc of this video is already set in place before they are being recorded. And lastly, we also have the Iman Gadzhi editing style. If you manage to make a whole industry crazy about your editing style, well, then you are kind of doing something right. So you have, you know, editors like this proper gentleman talking about how to make videos like Iman Gadzhi, right? And there are so many more people. And one thing that I want to highlight, because I really love that, is here at second 59 in this video of Iman Gadzhi. Just one example, right? How they do retention-based editing, something we train our editors to do too, because it's so critical, okay? So script is like 60-70% of the success, and then you put the cherry on top with the editing, at least when it comes to, you know, videos about businesses, videos by business owners. If we're talking about documentaries or full feature high production value movies, which we do, by the way, right, for German television with our German production company, then it's a different thing. Then the editing side is even more important than the script sometimes, right? Because it can convey so much emotion. But here what he does is he shows this freaking maze, right? And he's trying to like find a way for this thing to like get through this freaking maze, you know? And you're just looking at the screen. He's talking about, you know, finding a solution to some problem. You're looking at this and you kind of really want to know how to get out of this maze. It just keeps your eyes glued to the freaking screen. This is genius. And then obviously he turns his long videos into lots of short clips. There's entire teams out there that do nothing else than, you know, take your videos, distribute them on all the short platforms and, you know, make thousands of shorts literally for you per month. And we'll get to a big problem that Iman Gadzhi has in a second, and how you can avoid this and how you can actually exploit this hack. And it's amazing. It basically saves you time and it makes you more money as a business owner. But for now, I want to talk about one small thing, and it's from here on with this YouTube system, it's the same procedure as always. You have a link in the channel description, you have also links in all of these videos, or in most of them, you know, whenever it really counts. And the link is a tracking link, so he can know exactly where his leads are coming from. It leads to a landing page, and the landing page collects your email. When we talk to business owners, we usually suggest to make a lead magnet that typically converts 20, 30, sometimes 40% better than if you tell people to immediately book a call, you know. And so if you look at the sales generated in the end, you can expect 30% more sales over a longer time horizon if you put a lead magnet into your descriptions, because simply the revenue extraction rate is going to be higher if you capture these emails first and then you slowly turn them into customers through an email automation. But as I said, there's a big problem, and we will learn how we can exploit this. His audience is too broad. He can literally just sell guru shit to them. If you are talking about how to be successful in 2025, 3 success books that I read, how to think your way to being a billionaire, then this is a targeting catastrophe. You're going to have millions of views, right? 1.5, 1.8, 1.7, 5.3 views. Like, what the fuck, right? But these are highly untargeted views. So the kind of stuff that he can sell, he did opt for the thing that brings him the most money, which is in these cases typical guru, how to make money products, because these will appeal to most of the people in his audience. And that's not even that desirable. For me, for example, I would much rather have a super targeted small channel. Let's say I get 100 views each video, right? but I know these 100 people are, let's say, top tier CEOs and executives interested in my product, which is in the defense industry. I'm selling drones, and these average contract values are 5 million upwards, right? Amazing. I don't need to put up with millions of people that know my face, that are going to send me messages. Most of them are broke, though they can't buy my stuff, right? I don't even know what to offer to them. It's way too many people, way too diverse. So I guess he also realized that, and he came up with a solution that is great. He started new channels. For example, the Iman Gadzhi unscripted channel, week in the life of a multimillionaire, week in the life of an ultra humble trillionaire, week in the life, whatever, right? It's all week in the life. It's very lifestyle focused. And here he sells FMCG and SMCG products. So fast moving consumer goods, slow moving consumer goods. The description is highly optimized for that. It's literally very simple. He has his glasses in this case above the fold, and his Instagram, because his Instagram is where he hooks you even more, right? Where he shows people that are interested in his lifestyle, he shows them even more of his lifestyle. So it's a perfect match, and that's how he sells, his Gadzhi glasses. Very different ICP from his main channel. And he also sells drinks, which is something apparently every influencer needs to be doing, otherwise they are no real influencer, right? Like, who the fuck are you if you don't sell a drink? Okay, different channel, and this is where we can start learning. Different offer, Iman Gadzhi business. So here he just talks about business, and actually he goes into kind of some depth. You could go into much more depth, obviously, but he's doing it quite well. The flywheel content system that generated 100 million, supposedly, the software stack that they're using to get to 5.3 million subscribers, how they made 1 million with Instagram, quiz funnels, and so on. So he's going into quite some depth, and you see the views are much lower, right? 60k, 26k, 15, 17. So much lower view numbers, but I assume that most of the people watching these videos, or I assume that more people watching these videos are going to be business owners, people with some serious financial firepower, at least in the future. I assume that right now, these 30,000 subscribers, a lot of them are still like the average Iman Gadzhi connoisseurs, so young, like hungry, students looking to make money, right? And here they can, get some more information. So I assume right now still a lot of these 30,000 subscribers are still his typical Iman Gadzhi followers, like young people, let's say, in their teens, early 20s, ambitious, but don't really have money, want to figure out how to make money, and now they discovered this channel and they're like, wow, I can watch even more content by my big role model, But as time progresses, the percentage of people that are, real business owners will increase, and unless he changes direction again, but I guess he will stick with this rather, narrow positioning, and then he should be able to convert people at a much higher rate, right? If he wants to then sell B2B products, he will be able to do that much better, and he's already starting to kind of do that. He has this SaaS for entrepreneurs, Flowzy. He has a new coaching program, so he's kind of getting in there, and that's a very important learning for us, right? When we want to build a YouTube channel for our business, then we should keep it sufficiently narrow. There's no point in making, big entertainment content and whatever. That is for the really big players. Like, if you look at our pitch decks and our internal sales materials, you will see this program for Trade Republic, where they did a big game show basically, and it was sponsored, or it was organized by Trade Republic on their YouTube channel. Trade Republic is like an online broker, is like a European version of Robinhood, you could say. And for them, this makes sense because they are at this stage where they are even making TV commercials, right? So you can ask yourself, would you do TV commercials, like commercials that are aimed at basically increasing visibility across the entire population? Yeah, if yes, then you can go broad, you can go crazy on YouTube, you can think about big entertainment concepts, and it's all about increasing pumping those numbers up, right? Getting millions of viewers on your videos. But if you're not at this stage yet, and this stage comes at, you know, multiple billion market cap sometimes, so chances are you're not at this stage, sorry, then it makes much more sense for you to have a super focused YouTube channel, you know, focus it on one small thing and have extremely high conversion rates with this one small thing, instead of, you know, focusing on a super broad audience and the conversion rate is going to be super small because it's not really clear who are the consumers of your videos. And that's also a very positive message, I think, because you don't need to worry about these millions of views, right? It's simply enough to talk about the problems your prospects and some of your customers face, addressing them in videos, doing it obviously in a way where it is a little bit entertaining. You have nice packaging with these videos. The hooks are well thought out so that people actually watch the whole thing. You have high average view duration, and then place great conversion systems, we call them, in the videos, in the descriptions, good lead magnets. So basically making sure that these views, these eyeballs then turn into cash flow for you as a business owner. Now that was a quick excursion. Let's get back to Iman. Last thing that he also started is, you know, his latest venture, or shall I say small acquisition. Nobody really knows how much equity ownership he has in WOP, which is a platform that enables people to sell their stuff, you know, so will have a lot of more small Imangadzis selling their courses and their communities. And I do think WOP is a great, you know, opportunity. There's obviously competitors like School, like Circle.so and so on. And for Iman to take a small stake in WOP, I think is a pretty obvious next step. So all in all, I think he's doing well. He came here because he kind of pretended to be someone else, or to have someone else, which is this, you know, massive marketing agency, which he didn't have. But you can adapt his whole playbook. You can do all of the tricks that we discussed, you know, in terms of retention, in terms of making these videos in a way so that they're extremely engaging, you know, having this emotional depth. You can do all of this, and you probably, if you're watching this video until here, you have a business, so you can make videos about your business that will really attract your ICP and help you generate leads, right? Then of course you can also invent some stories, blow up your business to proportions that are not real, and just make the whole thing a little bit more emotional, a little bit more scandalous. And that would be taking the devil's deal, something that Iman did. Okay.